Well, apparently, and I'm sorry if I'm not like I don't really see this as something that we should just be running around rejoicing over like a lot of people are. I'm sorry. Somebody called me a contrarian. I'm sorry. I just see through the bullshit and I see the hypocrisy and I see motivations, right? I don't just look at it on the surface and say, "Oh, wow, this is a great thing." I have to ask questions about it. Otherwise, why would you listen to me if I don't ask questions? So while Donald Trump and the NRA kind of scored in the morning, the Democrats had to come and one up because I'm sorry, guys. I know some of you are like, oh, this is a great thing with the filibuster. It's cool. It's hey, they're doing something. I got it. I get it. It's better than being on vacation. But the Democrats are doing a one up. Because Donald Trump and the NRA scored this morning. The Democrats have to one up them, and they're doing it with this enough. Let me put the this hashtag enough. This is the hashtag that they're going underneath for this filibuster that I believe is still going on. And sorry, guys. The filibuster is being led by Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. U.S. Senator from Connecticut. He's calling for, they're actually attaching this to Dianne Feinstein piece of legislation that she submitted months ago, but they're tying this movement to that legislation, asking for universal background checks, and watch this, also to deny suspected terrorists from purchasing guns. So the only difference between what the Democrats are asking for and the NRA and Donald Trump is asking for is the universal background checks. Where do you think the compromise is going to land? They're not going to get universal background checks. Scratch that. At the end of the day, if they do anything, the only thing that will be done is to deny suspected terrorists from purchasing guns, with the concession that there must be due process in place. Here's the thing. The crazy thing about it, I've said it already and I have to say it again, damn it. If you believe the terrorist watch list is problematic, the NRA is the conduit through which there's a recourse. There's a way of addressing it to make sure that due process is in place and that people are not thrown on that list or wait, not that people aren't thrown on it, but that people have a means to get off of it so that they can purchase a gun. You see how? So here are my questions. Here are my questions for the audience. Mitch McConnell, Senate Majority Leader, Republican, has already said that he wants to pass the legislation by Senator Corbin, I believe, of Texas, that will put these protections for due process in place. And as long as those protections of due process are in place, then they're willing to ban people who are on, or they're willing to make it difficult for a person who is on that no-fly list and the terrorist watch list to purchase a gun. And by difficult, that means that the there's a delay and the federal government can review, and then the federal government can shut down the sale and apprehend the person if there's something found, which is more than what we're doing right now. So Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says, I'm on board. Just make sure we have protections for due process. The NRA says we're on board. Same legislation so long as there's protections for due process. Donald Trump says, I want to talk about it. Let's make sure that we have no one buying guns that are on terrorist watch lists. The filibuster is about making sure that no one who is on the terrorist watch list can buy a gun. They all agree. So what is the show for? They all agree that no one on the terrorist watch list should be able to purchase guns. And the more progressive, for the conservative reason, I know that's convoluted, but if you're following me, you understand what I'm saying. The more progressive iteration of this debate, albeit for conservative reasons, is coming from the NRA. So what are we arguing? What is the filibuster for? It's for showcase, because that's what we do. That's what we do. Democrats had to one-up Donald Trump this morning. Donald Trump scored this morning, and Democrats had to one-up it. And so they have this great passionate movement that's going on. They all agree. All right. The real problem is, should this watch list, terrorist watch list, exist in the fashion that it exists in right now? Right? Nobody's asking that question. We're really just asking, can we use this as a means of getting 1 inch closer to gun control? And there's some things that that a lot of people on my team, there's a lot of conversations about this in our chat room, particularly Dr. Hyde. She was pointing out that, this list overwhelmingly affects people of color, does not affect the number one perpetrators of mass shootings, which are young white men. Young white men are not overwhelmingly represented on this. This is a list full of people of color. So even if they use this, to what degree is it going to help prevent the next mass shooting? Now, in my opinion, if it helps prevent a single mass shooting, then damn it, I'm not going to complain about it. But the odds are not in our favor. Unless they're going to put about the list right now has 1.1 million people who are suspected terrorists or have suspected ties with terrorists. And a majority of them are people of color. So unless they're going to put like 1.1 million young white men on that list, it really will not have the effect that people are going to pretend that it has when this filibuster is over. And when this legislation, if it passes, they are going to pretend as though it's going to have this amazing effect, which will have the subsequent effect of delaying real gun control legislation from coming forward. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if you came and I don't know if you're celebrating the filibuster and you're feeling good about the filibuster. I get it. It moves me. I am touched by it. I don't want you to think I'm just this contrarian. Yeah, I'm going to use your word again, guy. I'm this bitter, cantankerous guy who can't see joy in anything. I can. I think it's great. Good. Do it. Do it. Damn it, do it. You agree, though. You agree. So just sign the damn legislation. No, we have to showcase. I'm not interested in the people who need to show up for the showcase. I'm interested in the people who are doing this when no one's looking.